Today we are going to be doing a little Tablescape play for Thanksgiving, just for the weeks building up to Thanksgiving. And then I'm going to show you how to make a pumpkin pie with sweetened condensed milk, and what I like to do with leftover pie crust or pie crust cookies, which are really delicious, and how I make, or how my mother-in-law makes, the best stuffing in the world. I do have all these recipes on the blog at farmhouseharvest.net, so check out the links below. I am doing this video in collaboration with a bunch of friends, and they've all got videos to help you prepare and give you inspiration for your Thanksgiving of 2023. So be sure to check out their links in the description box below. Come on in. I just love drizzly mornings. This is my favorite kind of fall morning. Come on in, you walk down past the entryway in our home, and then you come to the family room and the dining room, which are all connected. So just giving you a little view of that. It is early in the morning, as you can see outside the windows. First, I'm going to start with a little Thanksgiving style tablescape, but before I do that, I need to clean up my table. I do have 6 kids, so I will need to wash that up really good, give it a scrub, also the seats, and then I can add some decor. So I picked up this tablecloth at least last year. It is just from Walmart, but it's super cute. I like the orange plaid on it. Gives it a nice fall feeling. And then to that, I am going to add my fall harvest basket that has the Indian corn in it from the farmer's market earlier this season. I got that harvest basket at the antique shop, thrift store, downtown Payette for like $3, and I have been using it for over a year and just really love it. I'm adding to this a little pie pumpkin and some gourds, and then lighting some candles just for a little cozy fall morning. And I just love the way that this feels and makes everything just look beautiful and feel so cozy. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do and get started with this morning is the pumpkin pie. I did make this pie crust last night. It is my egg and vinegar recipe that my mom taught me. I love it. I love the flavor that a little bit of vinegar gives to the pie crust. The egg helps it to hold together really well, and it's really flaky. So it's 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and then into that you grate 3 cubes or a cup and a half of frozen butter. And then into a separate bowl, you will put an egg, 5 to 6 tablespoons of ice cold water, and 1 tablespoon of white distilled vinegar. And then you just knead that together, not too much, but just till it comes together, and then you refrigerate it overnight. So this has been in the refrigerator all night. It does make it a little bit harder to roll out, but it makes a very flaky, beautiful pie crust. And so I am just getting that into this pan the way my mama taught me, and I will go ahead and trim off the excess around the sides. To trim off the excess, I just go a little bit farther than the outside edge so it leaves more for crimping, and then I use 2 fingers on one hand and 1 finger on the other hand to just crimp the sides all the way around this pie crust and make it look pretty on top. Okay, so for this pumpkin pie filling, I just thought of this last night and thought, you know, it really should turn out good. I usually make my cheesecakes with sweetened condensed milk, and I decided I'm going to try it with my pumpkin pie. This pumpkin pie recipe would usually be the 2 cups of pumpkin puree that I'm adding right now, and then 1 cup of milk and 1 cup of sugar, but sweetened condensed milk is milk and sugar that's just cooked down. It's very sweet. I think it'll be sweet enough for this pumpkin pie. This is a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk that I am going to add in here. And then to that, I am going to add 3 eggs and then my seasonings. So my seasonings are usually, you know, a lot of people would use the pumpkin pie spice seasoning, but really that's just cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and cloves. And so I am going to make my own. My mom gifted me huge containers of all of those ingredients. She really loves fall baking too, and so I have so much of it, it'll last me for quite a while. So I'm adding a whole tablespoon of cinnamon, and then I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of ground ginger, a half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and a fourth of a teaspoon of ground cloves. And this is a little bit spicier than what just the plain pumpkin pie spice would be, but I do like to add a little bit more cinnamon and spice to my pumpkin pies than what you would probably get at the store. But I'm just going to get these all in here and then get it whisked together really well until everything is really well and incorporated, and then I will pour that into my prepared pie shell. I did preheat my oven already to 425 degrees. I like to cook my pie crust for 15 minutes at 425 degrees so that it helps crisp the crust a little bit with all that moisture on top of it, just so that you make sure you have a nice crispy crust and it doesn't get soggy. So because I made a full batch of pie crust, I have a bunch of pie crust left over, and what I love is pumpkin and maple together. So not pumpkin and maple, pecans and maple. So I'm going to chop up a bunch of these pecans and press them into my leftover pie crust and roll them out for cookies. You could knead it together, but if you do that, it can make your pie crust less flaky and a little more tough. So I'm just rolling them into it. I put some on the bottom of the pie crust, put some on the top, and then roll it in. I did get these really cute cookie cutters from Joann's. They were on sale for like 60% off, and they have springs in them. So the outside is the shape of a leaf, and then the inside spring, you push it down and it imprints the veins of the leaf onto the cookie, and they're super cute. So first time using them, definitely enjoyed it. My girls are gonna love these for cookies this fall. And so I'm just gonna fill this cookie sheet up with these cute little cookies. And remember, this is pie crust cookies, so they're not sweet at all. So after I get all these cut out, I'm going to have to add sugar to the top of that. Usually when my mom would make pie crust cookies, or most people will just cut the leftover pie crust up into little cookie shapes and put it on the cookie sheet and then sprinkle it with cinnamon and sugar. And so I am going to sprinkle these with cinnamon sugar because it doesn't taste good by itself. And then I am going to pop these in the oven at 425 degrees and let them cook for about 15 minutes until they're nice and browned. And the only thing that's going to sweeten these is going to be the cinnamon sugar on top. And then I'm going to make a maple glaze because pecan and maples taste so good together. And these are going to be super flaky and delicious. If you make them for Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving, they will get devoured. I end up putting about a fourth of a teaspoon of cinnamon sugar onto each cookie on the pie or on this cookie sheet. And then these go into the oven. So while the cookies are cooking, I am going to show you how to make the best stuffing in the world. Some people love stuffing, some people don't like stuffing. I did not like stuffing growing up at all. And I love my mom and dad, but they put stuff like raisins and nuts into the stuffing, which I did not like the texture of at all. But my mother-in-law, she made stuffing I just love it. So it's just seasoned breadcrumbs. It is chopped onion and celery that you saute with your butter and make them nice and soft. And then she always adds a protein. So usually we add sausage to the Usually we add sausage to the stuffing, but I roasted a chicken last night, and so I have a lot of leftover chicken and chicken broth. So I'm going to use that in this stuffing. I'm just going to chop up this leftover chicken. So this will make a 9x13 pan with the breadcrumbs that I have. And I'm going to be adding to that about 2 cups of chopped chicken. So you could use about 2 cups or 1 pound of sausage for the same recipe. Just chop it nice and small and then add it to your bowl of breadcrumbs. So these breadcrumbs are probably about, it was two small packages of breadcrumbs. I'm guessing it was about, I'm thinking 8 cups of breadcrumbs would be my guess. Then to that, I'm going to add my 3 ribs of celery, my 1 onion that I had sauteing on the stove with a whole cube of butter. And then to this bowl, I am going to add my leftover chicken broth or stock or drippings from my roasted chicken yesterday. It's about 1.5 cups after scraping the fat off of it. And then I had to heat it up in the microwave because it was really congealed. And then just give it, you can use regular broth too. You just use regular chicken broth, but I had this left over and it's really good, so I'm going to use it. Just give everything a good stir and make sure it's all the breadcrumbs are nice and moistened. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the salt and pepper. And I'm also going to add some thyme from our garden. So this is thyme that we had cut out of the garden and dried in the pantry. I'm adding about 1 tablespoon of that. And then give it a nice stir and pour it into your casserole dish. You can use a 9x13. I am using this casserole just because it has a lid, and the lid helps keep everything moist. And so then I will pop that in the oven at about 350 degrees, and it will really be ready to go in about an hour for dinner. All right, so these pecan pie crust cookies are done, nice and golden brown, and I am just going to put together a maple glaze. And I am not measuring, but it is super simple. I'm using about 3 cups of powdered sugar, about 1 teaspoon of maple extract, and then I end up using about 3 tablespoons of milk. And you just give that, you want to make it nice and thick, so don't add too much milk. Just add a little bit at a time till you get the consistency that you want. I want it thick because it will dry quicker on the cookies. But the flavor of pecans with maple together in the really flaky pie crust cookie is just delicious. You're going to love this if you haven't tried something like this yet, which I made this up, so I'm not sure if anyone else has yet. I mean, probably, but these are delicious and just something I thought of. So I will definitely be making these again. My kids are going to love them today, and I will be making them again right before Thanksgiving because I make my Thanksgiving pies the day before Thanksgiving. All right, just taking the pumpkin pie out of the oven. It has been cooking for about 60 minutes. The crust is nice and golden, and the pie is nice and fluffy. So you can't really cut a pumpkin pie till it's cooled for at least 2 hours. I recommend longer. So I won't be able to show you that in this video, but I will show you these pie crust maple pecan cookies. They're delicious. Definitely a winner. If you want to try, you won't be disappointed if you are a nut lover like me. Thank you so much for stopping by the farmhouse and watching my video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And don't forget to check out those links in the description box below for all the Thursday Thanksgiving inspiration.